The story opens with at least 20 people dead, and in every episode that follows, at least one person will die. Each ending comes with a shocking twist. The show is absolutely insane. To help you fully understand this masterpiece, Mouse, I watched it 3 times. 2 men carry the same extraordinary genetic trait. One has a 99% chance of being a psychopathic killer, while the other belongs to the rare 1% who becomes a genius. The constant tension between brilliance and darkness keeps you guessing until the very last second. You'll never truly know who the real murderer is. Daniel suddenly visits Ji-eun's home, wanting to know how the child born with the special gene is living now. The family photo on the shelf shows that Ji-eun's son, Sun Yo-han, has also become a doctor just like Han Seo-jun. Ji-eun doesn't really want to see Daniel, because she knows the reason for his visit is to confirm whether Yo-han has become a killer.
틀리셨어요, 박사님이.
What Ji-eun says next is her way of telling Daniel, "My son isn't a monster, he's that 1% of genius." Daniel then goes to the hospital to secretly observe Sun Yo-han, but unexpectedly hears him say something strange.
칼은 저도 깼습니다만 옆구리보단 여기가 빠릅니다. 경동맥이 지난 자리라 찌르면 피가 분수처럼 솟죠. 동시에 이 바늘을 뽑아버리면 2개의 분수쇼를 감상할 수 있겠네요. 꽤 인상적인 장면이 될 것 같은데.
Besides Yo-han, Daniel also meets Ko Mu-chi. Ko Mu-chi had picked up a packet of instant coffee at the crime scene, planning to bring it back to the station, but a call from Choi Hong-ju summoned him to the hospital because the victim's mother, unable to bear the pain of losing her child, was attempting to end her own life. When Ko Mu-chi returns home, he sees a lunchbox from his brother. For years, he's held deep resentment toward him, unable to understand why. After their family was killed by Han Seo-jun and his brother left disabled, his brother chose forgiveness.
난 널 도대체 이해할 수가 없어. 엄마 아빠 죽이고 너 이렇게 만든 새끼를 어떻게 용서할 수 있어? 어떻게? 이 새끼야. 난 솔직히 한서준 그 새끼보다 네가 더 미워. 너 나중에 죽어서 엄마 아빠 어떻게 보라 그러냐.
At that moment, Barium runs up to Ko Mu-chi in a panic, saying that the person who attacked Chi-guk wasn't the prisoner because he just saw Chi-guk's missing watch appear on TV. The prisoner tries to keep lying, but Ko Mu-chi exposes him, pointing out, "As an inmate, you can't possibly leave the prison. Chi-guk's injuries were made inside, but his watch turned up outside. That means you didn't do it." When the attack happened, Chi-guk's clothes vanished without a trace. Ko Mu-chi believes the clothes hold a vital clue, so he leads a full search inside the prison, while asking Barium to demonstrate the disappearing act trick from the magic box. The mirror inside creates the illusion that someone has vanished when they're still hidden within. If that's the case, Chi-guk might have been inside the box before the magic show even began. The change in the box's weight makes Ko Mu-chi suspicious, but Barium explains, the wheels under the box are specially made, so you can't feel the weight difference.
들어가 봐.
저요? 아, 네.
서문과에서 서류 작업하는 거 도와달랬어. 오늘 잘해, 쫄지 말고.
박스에 불 떠난 적은?
제가 무대로 올라갔을 때 말고는 없어요. 그때는 다른 단원들도 다 같이 있었고요. 참, 점심 먹을 때 자리를 비웠네요.
아, 맞네.
The only time everyone leaves the room is during lunch, which makes it the perfect opportunity to commit the crime. That night, Sun Yo-han, dressed in black and wearing gloves, goes to the amusement park. Earlier that day, Daniel had called to arrange a meeting. Daniel was waiting inside the Ferris wheel when suddenly, it started moving on its own. Down by the lake, a dark figure is handling a body, and when the face is revealed, it's Sun Yo-han. After searching all day, the police still can't find Chi-guk's clothes. Barium keeps staring at the sky, and when Ko Mu-chi asks what he's looking at, Barium says, "I heard killers move bodies to a place where they can see a cross and curse it with their hands, but Chi-guk's case isn't like that." Ko Mu-chi is puzzled too. On their way back to the city, Barium says he wants to join the investigation because Chi-guk was his longtime friend and he wants to catch the culprit himself.
아, 너 경찰이라 그랬지?
네, 구동파출소에서 근무하고 있습니다. 아직 신입입니다.
너 사이코패스 만난 적 있어? 네가 상상하는 거 이상이야. 너 같은 순둥이는 상상도 못할 무시무시한 괴물이야. 나같이 이럴 것도 없고 악만 남은 놈이 상대해야 될 놈들이라고.
Barium doesn't get an answer, so he turns to Bonnie, the girl he's always treated like a little sister and cared for deeply. Bonnie lives with her grandmother. As a child, she was assaulted by a man, and the trauma still haunts her. As she grows older, she takes up boxing to protect herself and heal her inner pain. Back at the station, Kawamuchi discovers that the instant coffee from the scene was accidentally brewed by a rookie and Choi Hongju drank it. If anyone else finds out the evidence is gone, Kawamuchi will be punished. The chief tells him to keep it quiet. Other officers began questioning why Father Ko went to the prison to perform, and when Kawamuchi almost stumbled upon seeing his brother, his nervousness was obvious even though he disagreed with his brother for giving Han Seo-jun. Deep down, he still cared deeply about him. Kawamuchi warns Choi Hongju not to tell anyone about the lost evidence, but she demands an apology years ago. When she confessed her feelings, Kawamuchi rejected her, and she's never forgotten it. Kawamuchi ignores her and heads to the hospital to check on Chigak, where he unexpectedly runs into Barium. Of Chigak's 2 injured fingers, only one could be reattached. The other was too damaged and is now preserved at the hospital. The killer left Chigak's watch on purpose, narrowing the search area, but for what reason? Both Kawamuchi and Barium are completely confused. Later that night, Bonnie visits Barium for the first time. Inside his house, she sees a photo of him with his mother, and the woman in the picture is the same one who once had her unborn baby tested for the genetic trait alongside Ji-eun. There's no father in the photo. The woman had said her husband died in an accident, which means Barium's mother is that woman and Barium himself carries the special gene. Maybe because Kawamuchi refused to apologize for the coffee incident, the secret got out. When he went to confront Choi Hongju, he saw her in son Johan's arms. Inside Johan's hidden room, the walls are covered with gruesome photos of victims, making people wonder, is he the new headhunter? Or is there something else going on? Kawamuchi is suspended, and his junior officer is transferred elsewhere. On his first day at the new post, the officer encounters another murder case, but no body is found. The missing person is Daniel. At the crime scene, they discover a jacket zipper, but Daniel was wearing a suit the day he vanished, which means the zipper doesn't belong to him. Meanwhile, Bonnie's grandmother gets a call from the school saying Bonnie got into a fight. At first, she doesn't know why and kneels to apologize to the other parent, but once she learns the truth, her attitude completely changes.
너 무엇이라고 시부렁거리고 다녔냐?
나도 엄마한테 들은 거.
그러지? 상년들이
Bonnie notices her grandmother's hair is messy, but she insists she's fine.
하여튼 저 가수는 징사스럽게 말도 쳐 안 들어. 너 그래갖고 양중에 뭐 되려고 그래?
나 할머니 말 너무 잘 들어서 이 지경이잖아. 내가 말 안 듣는 애였으면 할머니 막걸리 심부름도 안 갔겠지. 그러면 그런 일도...
For the grandmother, Bonnie's trauma is also her lifelong pain. She blames herself deeply, and at home, she keeps a knife hidden. The man who hurt Bonnie will be released in 2 months, and the grandmother swears she will take justice into her own hands. Barium saw the grandmother alone at home, so he kindly brought her a drink and reminded her to change to a new bandage. Bonnie hadn't answered her phone, so the grandmother asked Barium to help contact her and tell her to come home soon. The girl's classmates and their parents had threatened that if they didn't receive the settlement money, Bonnie wouldn't be allowed to graduate. For the sake of her granddaughter, the elderly woman, despite her age, tirelessly went out to look for work. However, because she was too old, no one wanted to hire her. The job broker simply handed her a bottle of yogurt and walked out of the office. Seeing this, the grandmother went straight to the refrigerator.
이것이 우리 봉이 비운비 딱인게.
Just as she was about to leave, the office phone rang. When she learned that someone was looking for a house cleaner, she secretly took the job without telling the broker, and that house turned out to be son Johan's residence. The caller was Ji-eun, who often hired people to clean her son's room. Sun Johan was about to lock the door to his secret room when he suddenly received a call from the police. Ko Mu-chi had found out that Daniel's last phone call had been to him. Before leaving, Sun Johan gave the grandmother a generous payment. Touched by his kindness, she decided to clean the house more thoroughly. Sun Johan claimed he didn't know Daniel, but the call log showed they had talked for over 3 minutes. If you don't know him, Ko Mu-chi asked, why would you talk that long? Ko Mu-chi pressed further, asking what Sun Johan was doing on the day of the crime. Sun Johan said, I was with a friend, but when he wrote down the friend's name and number, his eyes caught sight of the key on the table, and in that instant, he remembered that he had forgotten to pull it out after answering the police call. The grandmother was still cleaning the house. If she discovered that key, Sun Johan didn't dare imagine what would happen. He rushed home as fast as he could, but he was too late. The grandmother had already stepped into the hidden room filled with photos of the victims. When Sun Johan arrived, the grandmother was on her way out. She didn't even bother to take the payment and hurried away as fast as she could. Sun Johan quickly entered the secret room and found that one of the photos had been torn off, but the grandmother didn't realize that he was now following her.
지난 13일 산책 나간 애 양이 귀가하지 않자 가족들이 경찰에 실종 신고를 했지만 결국 싸늘한 죽음으로
우리 손주 사회 실적 올려줘야지.
Meanwhile, Barium, after retrieving Chi-gak's severed finger from the hospital, suddenly noticed something strange. The finger didn't belong to Chi-gak. He immediately informed Ko Mu-chi, saying, a week before the incident, Chi-gak and I went fishing together, and his finger got cut by the fishing line. But this finger doesn't have that scar, which means it must belong to someone else, probably another victim. Hearing this, Ko Mu-chi suddenly thought of the church near the prison. He and Barium rushed there, but they didn't find anything. Just when Barium thought the trip was useless, a few drops of fresh blood suddenly fell onto his hand.
사다리 갖고 와.
When Ko Mu-chi climbed up to the rooftop, he saw something that left him completely shocked. That evening, the grandmother finally got off the bus. She tried to find a neighbor for help, but all the shops were closed. At that moment, she unexpectedly saw Sun Johan and ran away in fear. At the same time, Barium received a text message from the grandmother. When he called back, no one answered, so he rushed to where she was. Following the sound of her phone, he finally found that the grandmother had been brutally murdered. Suddenly, a shadow appeared ahead, and Barium immediately started chasing after it. But as he crossed the street, a car hit him hard, sending him flying. Just before losing consciousness, he saw Sun Johan's face. So who is the real killer, Sun Johan, or someone else entirely? I'm your host who brings you the best Korean drama recaps. See you in the next episode.